Well, first of all, I loved this. I watched this last night and I was just completely hooked. Great job, both of you. Veena, I gotta start with you. How difficult is it to write a serious horror thriller, but put it in pieces like they do on this station?
Because Quibi requires every story to be short form and almost haiku-ish, in terms of its length, less than 10 minutes each, right? Each episode.
Yeah.
That in terms of creating a thriller that delivers throughout the episode and at the end with kind of the trope of the cliffhanger for thrillers, the biggest challenge writing it was to make sure that each ending felt unique and different and original.
Mhm.
It was not a repetition, or if it was a repetition of escape from the bad guy, that it was juicy and delicious and terrifying and completely original, that you would
Mhm.
really, be on for the ride and not by episode 4 thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, like, finish this up already.
Well, it definitely didn't feel that way, and I like you're right. It each episode ended kind of like I was like, "Oh my god, where is this going? Where is this going?" And it's really good work. Avan, I gotta say, I've been really impressed with you and what I've
Oh,
seen from you lately, especially with Zombieland. You're hilarious. Now
thank you.
Apocalypse was a joy. Uh,
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
you're welcome. What was it about this role, kind of deconstructing the, I don't know, the kind of stereotype that we get from the guy that works at 7-Eleven, you know?
Sure. Yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting thing because, obviously this character being written by someone who's South Asian, and the idea of, we had long sort of talks about, like, so what are we doing here? Are we trying? Are we doing our best to elevate a stereotype? Because, to I think that, if, like, I love going down I think archetypes is the classy way of saying stereotype, but
For sure.
I like going down those paths if we're elevating and learning something new about these people. We're learning depth and there's humanity there. And so, yeah, I think that, like, having the trust of a filmmaker who sort of understands the pitfalls of something like this,
Yeah.
and being able to dodge those pitfalls, and then sort of, like, maybe even fill in a couple of those potholes along the road, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
be like, oh, it's this, it's this, like, it's some American teenager. He's
Gotcha.
Indian, and he's working at this particular place, and he is into tech, and because those are all true things of an American teenager. So, and so they also happen to be true of this other sort of, like, sometimes negatively held stereotype. But bringing that into the future and bringing those themes and updating them and making them more relatable. He's funny for different reasons than the reasons that we've seen previously before in the past with the stereotype, which I think that's as important it is to break stereotypes, because I've been very careful with my career what type
Yeah.
of roles that I'm choosing, especially when it comes to those type of parts, and what are we saying. But as much as we need to go break stereotypes, we also need to update old ones.
Yeah.
I think is almost as key as to the change of psychology and how we see the diversity within people and groups. I think that's just as key as breaking stereotypes.
Well, I think you did a marvelous job with that. You did break the
Thank you.
stereotype, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Now, I'm gonna go back to you, Vina. There's what I really thought was interesting is I'm a huge horror fan. You may tell from my Jason here.
Yeah.
I I've got to say there's a level of kind of I felt there was inspiration from like The Hitcher. Were you kind of going with that element? I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly fascinated by psychopaths who are really smart and formidable, but certainly smart and superior. So I did love The Hitcher. Thank you for that reference.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
also really loved the Brian Cox version of Lecter, because I
Oh,
felt that character was bored. He was so much smarter than everyone else that he was actually quite bored in conversation with most people. And that makes, a monster human, that makes, a psychopath textured and interesting. And so, yeah, I mean, the bad guy, that Dane played, and we had, so many conversations prior to shooting about, what's his background, kind of what's underneath all of this, the levels of emotion and fear, vulnerability, also underneath kind of the hate that then manifests itself during the movie.
If you tell me a really good story, then I will let you live.
He's gonna find me. He's been trying to kill me.